Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whichever it is. This is John Griffin with You and I Research with the first episode of our relaunch series for Your Connection, where we talk about You and I Research or your paranormal stories, your paranormal studies updates, your evidence discussion, your paranormal event updates, your team announcements, your paranormal news. And this is the May 24th, 2020 edition. The agenda that we have set up for today, we're going to go over a special project that was put together by many different teams, Para-Unity, called We Are the World, Wildwood Sanitarium Project, the Paranormal Relief Project, Haunting Investigation 101 course, a summary about the EVP session from May 21st, research surveys, Ghosts in Quarantine, Parallel Universe, Going Backwards, very interesting, Animal Sensitivity Research, Intensified Cameras, and Rex Yappy's Cryptozoology page. And with me, I have two of my team members, our lead investigator, Robin Ramsey, and one of our paranormal researchers, Katie Conroy. So the first thing is a video that was put together by multiple teams. It was Jeremy York posted it, and it's basically a bunch of teams that are singing parts of the song "We Are the World," and we posted it in the Paranormal Puzzle page. I really suggest taking a look at it. All these different teams coming together. It was a wonderful video, and it really did scream Para-Unity, and Para-Unity is something that's just, it's not really done properly within the field. So to see something like this was truly, it was truly something special, and it was very well edited. So for all those who are part of it and the people who took the time to edit it and put this together, seriously, excellent job. It was actually very heartwarming. And of course, if you haven't joined our page already, there's the full link below, the logo that you'll see when you look for the page. Please take the time to join it. And again, we do have that video posted there. Really good video. You can also go to our website, www.uiniresearch.com, and when you get onto the page, on the left side of the page, there is a Facebook icon. If you click on that, it'll lead you to the Paranormal Puzzle page. So first thing we want to talk about is the Wildwood Sanitarium Project. They've had this going for several years now, where they're having teams that come in, and they're focusing on restoring the property essentially to its former glory. It's an excellent haunted location. Robin and I, we've been there several times, and the biggest thing right now that they're trying to take care of is the roofing issue. That's a primary project right now, and the concern right now is that the roof may not last through this next winter. And if that's the case and the roof collapses, that might be the end of Wildwood Sanitarium. And we've been there so many times now. It's an incredible location. And one of the reasons, and Robin, I'm sure you probably agree with this, the entities there were so compliant, so friendly, and very talkative. And I think you've been there, I think, what, twice so far, Robin?
Yes, I've been there twice, and I feel like I have a connection with those spirits already, like a really strong connection. And they are highly intelligent, and I think it would be a shame if, for a lot of reasons, but I think it would be a shame if this building ended up being demolished or whatever. Not just for that, Now they're showing roof problems, but there's some gorgeous woodwork, the staircases. There's a lot of beautiful things about this building. It is worth saving. And if there's any way you could contribute, even like $1, I'm sure any amount will help them. This is worth saving.
Yeah, and these are just some of the areas that you can see here that's having some of the issues. Just a few of the pictures from the page of the work that they're trying, the areas that they're trying to improve upon. And I know, Katie, we're looking to get next time, trying to have you come down there as
Yeah.
well. And I think I think I've lost count at this point. I think I've been there going on like 7 times. This might be my 8th time or something like that within the past couple of years. And on top of that, the owners are fantastic. Lori and Brooke are 2 of the nicest people I've ever met. Their heart is in the right place. And especially with this whole pandemic thing going on, this actually really hit. And I was wondering how this was going to affect Wildwood Sanitarium. Especially, we had planned a few events originally, and we had to cancel them all because of everything that's been going on. So very disappointing. You're like, this is like another home to me.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 5-hour drive, it's worth the 5-hour drive. So yes, if you can contribute or even just share it. Again, we have it in our Paranormal Puzzle Facebook page. So join there. If you have already joined there, click on the link, learn more about it, share it, or donate. But there's also something else lined up. And it's something so cool, again, put together by multiple people from the paranormal field, very large scale event. I can't talk about much of it right now. May 1st, 2021, multiple locations, multiple teams. This is called the Paranormal Relief Project. UNI Research is proud to be a part of this project. Now, again, we can't release too much right now other than we're a part of this. Here's the date. And it's meant for the essential workers who work tirelessly through this pandemic. And I can say for myself, working at a hospital, the things that I've seen doctors and nurses go through, other healthcare workers, people on the front line, knowing that even though there's this dangerous virus out there, they're the first ones in there, trying to keep people healthy, trying to keep people safe. And this is a big thank you to all the essential workers, not even just in the hospital, but even essential workers, frontline workers, the healthcare workers, firefighters, police officers, so many people that will be involved in this. And again, there's more to be announced. There's still things being put together, and once we can announce more, we definitely will. 3 of the teams, or 3 of the pages to keep an eye on: the Paranormal Help Desk, Paranormal Incorporate. Hopefully I got that right. And Things Paranormal Worldwide, as you can see within the flyer. Those are some of the Facebook pages that you'll want to keep an eye on, because there will be more information as it comes out. So on a random note, so many great people on our Paranormal Puzzle Facebook page. This one was from Sarai Richardson, who posted this funny meme for everyone. When you sneeze and you hear "bless you," but you're home alone. So thank you, Sarai.
That reminds me of when we first moved into our house that we're living in now. My husband said, "Where's the dogs?" And some mysterious lady who wasn't me said, "They're outside." Anyway. Thanks.
So we have a course that we've been talking about. There's been surveys and such, and I know you're probably hearing all these sound effects, cars going by. We're social distance from them. Haunting Investigation Course 101 is the first course that we will be doing out of the 3 courses that were surveyed in the Paranormal Puzzle page. And this course will be this week. Thursday will be the first one at 5 p.m. And the second one will be Saturday at 1 p.m. All these Eastern time via Zoom. For those who will be interested, there will be posts in the Paranormal Puzzle page. Reserved when those posts come in. It's free classes. Usually I like to say, oh, they're going to last a half hour, 45 minutes. That trend doesn't work with every course we've done. It's literally, we've had an hour and a half, and one that almost went 2 hours. It just got so in depth. And a little background to this, basically it's what people would call paranormal investigating or paranormal investigations 101. I named it differently. It's going to have different content in there versus what you would typically see in a paranormal investigation 101. 101, yeah, here we go. So expect this again to have a unique twist, just like all the other courses that we've been doing. Update from the May 21st EVP session. Here are some of the posts that happened, and I want to refer to this first one here, April 19th. This was very important. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I looked in my kitchen, and I thought I saw a male individual, and that was the description I had. I literally woke up and just posted that, just to have some type of record for it. A couple days ago, actually, I can't even say a couple days ago. I think it was actually on the 17th of May. Had a weird dream about ghosts, and then woke up to the smell of what smelled like perfume. Now, something told me that was at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and something told me that I just needed to post it. So I just rolled over in bed, quickly typed it in my phone on Facebook, and then went back to sleep. Later on that day, because my mother reacted to it with like a wow face with that emoji, I decided to ask her if there was anything, because the first thought that came to my mind was great-grandma. And I asked if was there anything unusual about this, about this time frame, and she responded with, what you see here. This was on the 21st of this month, was going to be the 10th anniversary of her death. So that caught me off guard. It made me wonder if it was my great-grandmother. So I did comment saying, "Oh, I guess I'm going to be doing an EVP session." I did do an EVP session on the 21st. Here's the kicker to that EVP session. I didn't think this was going to come back because I've done EVP sessions before in my apartment. I've kept on getting a female entity, but never a male. This time, after reviewing, there was a male voice that came over, and it made me think about this post from April 19th. I'm hearing some female voices on the recordings. I'm still deciphering what's being said, and I'm still trying to figure out if, in fact, this was truly great-grandma, or if it was that other female, or if it was somebody completely new that I have no clue about. Those will be featured, as well as the stats, on next week's Your Connection. Additionally, we're going to be doing research surveys. I had to throw that meme out there. Stand back. I'm going to try science. Yes. Paranormal Puzzle, again, join that Facebook group. It's all about the discussions. I'm going to be posting surveys there. I'm going to be collecting data, and then I'm going to be displaying that data. Some of it could be something as simple as apparition photos. What do you guys see? Do you see the shoulder more than the face? Do you see the face more than the shoulder? Do you not see anything? Doesn't matter what the result or your comment is, what your thought is on it. If it's you see something, it does play a role. So yeah, that's the part that matters. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that part. Here's a survey. It doesn't matter what you think,
but it matters a lot. And don't be afraid to say anything. I can't tell you how many times I've been terrified to open my mouth or say something because I think there's a wrong answer or right answer. We want to know because that input does absolutely matter.
Yeah, and the more that we can get, the more numbers that we get, the better. So seriously, take the time to be involved in this. The more sets that we get, the better. The more that we can learn and understand how this all works. And we'll be starting to post these later this week. Tom, this is thank you for posting this meme. He was like, he commented like, that is so true. The reason why ghosts don't kill people in real life is because if they did, those people would become ghosts. It would become really awkward. I can see why. I mean, look at the ghost at the very end here. It's just kind of like, it's like, bruh.
If I don't like you so much that I want to kill you, I don't want to spend eternity with you.
Exactly.
Michelle submitted this article from mysteriousuniverse.org. More people under quarantine or lockdown are seeing ghosts. And Robin, I see that you chimed in on this part. Yes, I was thinking that since we are spending more time in our homes, we are bound to encounter more strangeness. Really think about it. Yeah, that's true. Especially if even if you're a night shift worker and you're, we're told to stay at home during the day. I mean, this is it's interesting.
Absolutely. Even short 8-hour shift, you're usually gone from your house for 10 hours. That's close to half the day, that you're missing out. And now you're here 24/7. You should start
Yeah.
noticing. If something's happening, you should be noticing it
anyway. And then Michelle replying back, my thoughts exactly. People are paying close attention to media and what's going on in the world. That being bound at home may heighten an experience or attach to maybe their anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
And this is something that we've been saying for quite some time, that emotion may have some type of impact on how spiritual activity may work. So definitely, and for all of you, if you've noticed an increase, whether it be dreams, visions, any spiritual activity, any paranormal activity during this quarantine time period, please comment section below, Paranormal Puzzle, let us know. We definitely are interested, and it would be definitely very interesting.
Definitely have some crazy dreams lately.
Yeah, the dreams.
They're very vivid.
For sure. Now, this one, I've heard this a million times. Of course, naturally, Robin had to bring it right back up. I can feel it, and the others. NASA scientists detect parallel universe next to ours where time runs backwards. This is from dailystar.co.uk. And something caught my attention about this article about time going. They noticed some particles where it seemed like the time was going backwards based off of the way they were traveling. And of course, there are scientists saying we don't have enough to declare that this is true right now. And then there's some that are, that they're like, yeah, well, there's impossible. They keep on using that quote unquote impossible becoming possible.
Yeah. I've been interested in this whole subject since I think I was pretty young, and it came out in Omni magazine talking about the multiverse and other dimensions and experiments that were going on to try to prove that. And what's interesting is that the particles that they're measuring come only towards the Earth. And what they found is that in an anomalistic type of way, they actually found some particles were coming out of the Earth, coming back towards us, which meant they were actually traveling backwards in time. And for me, that was quite interesting because, in EVP sessions, sometimes you get a voice and it doesn't make any sense until you reverse the audio. And then, so it's like a little mind-blowing moment. Reverse the audio, they're actually speaking backwards. So there's more layers to all this story, but that was one thing that really made my brain hum a little bit.
Well, and there was one thing that when I'm looking at all these the ancient texts out there where there's all these end of days predictions, it's like, how the heck do you know this stuff? Like, first off, when it happened, like, we don't know when it would actually happen. Is this thousands of years down the road? Is it right around the corner? But either way, when these things actually came out, it was basically okay. Well, people were given these things well over 1,000 years ago. And it just made me wonder if, like, okay, if there was a universe created and it was headed in two different directions. First off, I'm kind of curious as to if you were to see this alternate universe, let's say it exists, you were to see this alternate universe, is it going backwards? Like, we started, here's the creation, and we're moving forward, and here's this, and we're going. You would see like me walking backwards, and somehow the times are going to go past each other. Does it mean that we're just flip flop, and like if I'm walking this way, the other me is walking. We're walking towards each other.
Doppelganger.
But then here's the kicker to this: is this, like, let's say this exists, is that's that was interesting.
The spirits are talking.
PvP session. What if, like, let's say, God from the Bible, is this part of the creation method? Is this like, okay, here's the universe is going forward, but now we can see how this is all going to happen? Because if you notice, when you have the prophecies in all these ancient texts, they don't all come at the same time. At the very beginning, it's like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and down the line, by the way, it's all, end of the world. You hear about it more in the New Testament. Okay, there's an end. Here's the final battle, but you don't hear about that until the New Testament. Same with other ancient texts. Do they actually sit there and watch a reversed universe to go, oh, here's how this is all, okay, I see how this is all coming together now, like a whole scientific, like, view of this. And then at some point, that's where they can go, those dreams, people that get the visions going, oh my goodness, I just got goosebumps from this. You get the dream about this is about to happen, this death is about to happen, or this event is about to happen. And then a day later or an hour later or something like that, it happens. And it's like, here was your warning. Could that alternate universe be?
Yeah, getting into your mind somehow, you get these premonitions. And I also think that there's theories that time is congruent, if that's right, where it's all happening at the same time. And if we know scientifically that the universe is expanding, and someday that will stop and it will reverse and come back together. And if all timelines run at the exact same time, that means it's all happening right now.
Yeah. A lot to think about. So there's.
It is.
Oh,
here we go. We're going like.
Mind blown. We're gonna explode again.
It was like ghosts. Yeah, there's ghosts. They move objects. What is the meaning of life?
Maybe we're our
I
own
want to know where the
ghosts.
cleaning ghosts are. They always are messing up. Where are the ones that come in and like clean for you? Those are the ones I want to know.
You got the poltergeists, which are noisy spirits. What do you call the quiet ones? We got the names for all the ones that are disturbing. But screw everybody else. Another thing that was brought up is animal sensitivity. And Tom and Sarai posted a video with a question first. Tom came in with another post, and Tom talked about something just came to mind. We know that animal senses are extremely high, especially when it comes to the paranormal. Makes me wonder, how deep can the subject go? And then we have Sarai that posted talking about animals being sensitive and interacting with the paranormal. So how do we develop experiments that help collect this data or evidence? Any thoughts on that? She also made mention of experiment that we were looking to do in the future. We're not going to go into details right now, but she talked about the aura cameras, and I know people have had pictures taken of their pets or themselves with an aura camera. So do you think it would also work with animals? Now, we had 2 responses from several people from Paranormal Puzzled on the Facebook page, one of them being Mark Miller. When it comes down to the
Music break.
so
Guys, how much it's gonna be done.
So Mark Miller said observation through qualitative, I hope I'm pronouncing that, qualitative research, while they are in a natural way for the animal, putting them in a contained area may change the outcome of the results. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I actually agree, because it's like you're putting animals in a very, if you put them in a strict setting, they, like, if you lock them in a room,
They lose it.
yeah. So is that, that could have an outcome on the experiment, or they may react to something that's in the room and they want to get out even more.
Yep.
Yeah.
But does it have anything to do with that? If you're just walking around with them constantly and they're restricted as to where they can go, only to where you are, does it change the results? So I like his thought process of just keeping it natural. I would say, honestly, go both ways on this one.
Yeah.
Like, let's try it and see what the results are, so we can try to rule out as much as possible and collect unique data, and then we'll know the best way to do it. But right now, I'd say he's definitely on the right track.
I had a suggestion on that one too, is just to start gathering everyone's anecdotal stories about what's going on. And if, for instance, a house that I used to live in, the dogs would literally position themselves on the bed, like on either side of my legs, and they would watch the ceiling because there would be these swirls. I was very troubled at that. That was a pretty haunted house or whatever. And they would guard, growl, bark at seemingly nothing, but it was there. Now, and what would make that more interesting is if you have this anecdotal story, and then you actually have, say, some sort of EVP or photograph or any other evidence that could go along with that, that's happening separate from what the dogs or any of the cat or the animals are doing. I think that would start, at least get the ball rolling, and maybe help us find a direction.
And another person that I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that commented in the section was Paul from Reno Paranormal. We did an investigation together back at the Hinsdale house, and his input, he says, for the aura camera, responding to Sarai's comment, that it does work unless you have an animal pad. You have to take a pic of you, then hold the animal and see how it changes. Good point. Good point. And so there's a few different things that I wanted to test with that. But thank you, Paul, for chiming in on that. And I've never really looked up animals, people using the aura camera for the animals. And then when we saw Paul's comment, it was like, oh, okay, let's look this up. And then sure enough, there they are. And it's like, so thank you. Seriously, thank you, Paul, for that.
And Kate, you saw evidence of it being used for other purposes, right? Animal aura
Yeah.
photography.
It was animals, people, and the animals together, so you could see a variation of kind of what the animal's normal aura was at the time. And there's actually a description of each color, and then how it changed from it was a calming spray. So they took the picture of the animal, they sprayed the calming spray on them, and then what the effect was after a couple minutes. And you could definitely see differences in the changes in color.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be pretty cool.
So there's a few other things that we wanted to talk about, which I'm going to turn over to Robin.
Let's see. It says it's disabled. Participant screen sharing is disabled.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. I can go ahead and start talking about it while we figure out how to share my screen. One thing I thought, we love to take a lot of photographs on our investigations of different types, whether it's just regular flash cameras, infrared, that sort of thing, raw photography. And I came across this camera called by LaVision, called an intensified camera. And it's basically scalar laser imaging, and you would check gas flows and things that really the naked eye can't see. But these cameras are so intensified that they can amplify weak light signals up to a single photon of sensitivity. And so I was wondering what the application really might be. what the application might be for our field. If we can go down to a single photon, I imagine that we would be able to be more successful at catching apparitions.
Sorry, folks, give us 1 second. It's still not letting you do it.
No.
Hmm.
Zoom at all.
Hmm.
My did Zoom go? Oh, there it was for a second.
All right, I tried a few different things. Go ahead and give it
Share screen. Okay, now it's going to let me. Okay, there we go. Sorry, learning curve, everyone. Hey.
Yay!
All right, so here are pictures of these intensified cameras, and you can read it for yourself if you want to go to lavision.de and go ahead and look up their cameras under products. It's pretty interesting to me, and right now I'm not sure how much these cameras cost, but I'm guessing they're not cheap. But there's several different versions that film different light frequencies, and have different applications. But if I could get my hands on one just to experiment a couple of times, I think I'm very interested in this. Or if there's some way, sorry, LaVision, I love to hack products. If there's some way I could hack a product into doing this, yeah, I would try. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I'm game.
Yeah.
Great. So, but there is a link on our paranormal puzzle page if you'd like to go there, if you're interested in checking that out.
You know, someone that works there that can get us one.
True. Yes. And so I move on to my next story. And then there's something else that I'm very interested in. And in general, I have to say that I am not a cryptozoology person per se. But Rex Yappy in Papua New Guinea has really caught my attention with some of the things that he's doing. And one of the big things, I'd invite you guys to go to his page, like his page, become friends with him. This man has beat all odds, really, to champion this field in a place where it is very difficult to do anything, really. It's socioeconomically challenged area. And he has risen up to become the premier cryptozoology researcher there. And one of the things that he is doing, trying to get to my other screen here, is researching the resurgence of what we would call a maybe a pterosaur, or what they call a ropin. Pictures here. Okay, so Rex is really a standout out of the island, and I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down. We can stop sharing. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing this. Stop share. There it is. Okay, great. Now I'm just going to tell you about the story, and then I'm going to share something from him. Okay, sorry about that. So,
Apology accepted.
What excites me about this post and video that I'm going to show you in a second, I won't show you the whole video, but I'll direct you to it, is he does this interview of a local who talks about seeing this alleged pterosaur. And it's fascinating to me because it's not a cryptid that is just brand new, that's just popped up. We know that this creature actually existed. And this man has seen this creature 3 times, which is basically a pterodactyl type thing. And I think that it's truly able to exist. And evidently the terrain of Papua New Guinea, it ranges from very high peaks. There's a lot of mountain ranges down to, of course, sea level, because it is an island, but there are vast amounts of land that have remained unexplored. They're uninhabited, and there is definitely a chance, I think, that this thing either has existed this whole time and is just being seen every now and then because it has the opportunity to social distance away from people, because animals really don't, like, people were typically not very good for their life. So it's really exciting. So on Rex's YouTube page, You can go there. It's called Rex Yappy. That's REXYAPI. Okay, and he interviews a man named Pupu Poya, who was born and raised in Papua New Guinea in a very small tribe on the south side of the island. And Mr. Poya has 3 sightings, as I said before, of a pterodactyl-like bird. And it gets even more interesting than that. This video documents the night sightings of a large flying creature with a bioluminescent tail, which actually grabbed my attention. So in his first sighting, Mr. Poya was a boy, and his entire village saw this bird. And there's way more to the story, so you really need to go watch the video. But saw this bird, and they started screaming and doing things to try to scare it away, but it didn't leave, and instead landed on top of a palm tree. Okay, so Mr. Poyo, the witness, indicated that the tail was sticking straight out and had like an arrow-type tip, which glowed with the bioluminescence. And the bird-like creature did not fly away, no matter how much they waved their arms and screamed to try to get it to go away, and seemed extremely menacing. And I think any of us that have seen like Jurassic Park or Jurassic Park 3, where the bird turns around and looks, like you would be like, forget about it. I'm out of here. So being a child, and he was very frightened, and he ran into his house just for safety's sake. But that wasn't the only sighting for this man. Mr. Poya is an accomplished hunter on the island, so he knows all the local wildlife, and including huge flying foxes. And you can find pictures of this on Rex Yappy's page as well. I mean, these things are giants. And in fact, there are other species evidently on the island that run really large. And so he knows what's normal and what's not. And he had 2 other sightings where he just saw one coming flying towards him from the south. And he said each time this creature approached from the south, which I imagine is a little more wild, and it would just circle back. So after this man tells his story, Rex Yappy goes on to ask some really good questions, trying to get a little bit deeper with this gentleman. And he makes some conclusions on the matter. And I think he does believe it is a pterosaur or a ropin of some type. So if you want to watch the video for yourself, it can be found on the Rex Yappy YouTube page, or a link through his Facebook. So be sure to give him a like and subscribe to his videos, because, like I said, he's beaten all odds to become, I mean, this is just unheard of, to be able to be a researcher, when you're barely trying to make ends meet on, in general, living in this area. For him to have gotten this far is really, really amazing. So I want to see if I can share my screen one more time. Go. And show you just kind of a screenshot of, I don't know if you can, hopefully you can't see our faces, but okay. So here's just the man who's being interviewed. So Mr. Poya, right? So once again, I just want to say it's Rex Yappy Crypto on Facebook, or Rex Yappy on YouTube. So you should really get over there. There's some super interesting things going on. And if you could ever find a way to support him, that's more than, I'm sure that would be more than welcome from him. And Kate, you had some thoughts on the
when we were looking before, I was able to find an article that was talking about the Aldalaba bird, which supposedly went extinct 100,000 years ago. And it's on Esquire's magazine, and I'll link it to the Paranormal Puzzle page. But one of the things that caught my eye was that they were talking about the DNA, and that even though this bird might have died out, the DNA is still available, and it's something called iterative evolution. And that's when old genes thought to have died out reemerge at a different point in time. So basically what they're saying is that this bird might have died out, but the DNA remained, and at some point those ancient genes replicated into modern times. So something could be extinct and not seen for hundreds of thousands of years, and then come back, and now it's just adapted to this world.
Right. And there's been several species of all kinds, really, that we're realizing now still exist. So I just don't think this is out of the realm of possibilities at all. So I think he's doing really good work.
Yeah, and he did share some stuff on the Paranormal Puzzle page. So looking forward to seeing definitely more content from him. Definitely. Absolutely. For sure. In Paranormal Puzzle, it's always been about everything, all things paranormal. There is no line on there, because we're trying to figure out the truth to everything. So cryptozoology, it's one of those things that is under the paranormal umbrella. And there are some parts of cryptozoology that connects with ufology. So that's interesting too, where there's people that have reported interacting with extraterrestrial beings that match some of the mythical beasts in cryptozoology. So definitely fascinating stuff, and it could lead to some answers on some things for sure. Katie, I know you had some things you wanted to discuss.
I do. One of the things that I was talking about, it was actually a conversation that you and I had. We were talking about not being able to, go on paranormal investigations and not be able to go anywhere because of the pandemic. And I thought, what are some things that were outside that you could socially distance, still get some investigating in, still get your, whistle wet and all of the above. So I found 3 local places. And again, always check with the local website, make sure things are open, don't trespass, don't break the law. We're not saying any of that. We're just saying go have fun. Stockade is one of those places. There's so much going on. There's so much history, not in just the buildings, but on the streets. There was wars that happened. There were things that happened by the water. There were all sorts of crazy things. So one of the places that I found was called Front Street Park in Schenectady. And remnants from the 1690 raid of the French Canadian and Indian invaders are said to have haunted the Front Street Park and the historic Stockade district. Many people report hearing voices. They report seeing things. You can kind of just go and see for yourself. It's also a great way to get some exercising, get some walking down. The address that's located, or the address that is kind of where all of this is going on, is about 179 Front Street, and that's more of the park area. But again, that whole section is where to go. And just a quick little thing, it said that it's said to be haunted by both Native American and French Canadian spirits, and the battle took place on the land in 1690, during which most of the Dutch residents were massacred. Some of the fighters who died in that massacre are unable to pass on or move on. And there's a couple places that I found this information. Hauntedplaces.org is a really great place. And they actually, as you scroll down, you can get coordinates and you can get directions. So you can go right from your house to that place and kind of map out maybe a day of doing some fun things. Another one, which if you've lived in Colony, kind of that Sand Creek area, it's called the Community Reformed Church of Colony. And supposedly the playground is haunted. People have seen shadow figures. Often hear children playing, see the swings moving. There's not really a whole lot of information on who the man is that they see or the children. I don't think I've ever heard of any fires, anything like that. So I'm kind of curious to see. But I did find that, I got from the website of the church that they were established in 1966 as an outreach for the First Community Church of Albany. The First Church is one of the oldest Reformed churches in American churches, founded in 1642. The building sits on the former site of the South Family Farm, which was part of the Shaker settlement that was established in the early 1700s. And their little tagline is, "Our roots run deep." So again, the land being haunted versus a building versus a person, this is kind of one of those areas. That building wasn't there until 1966, but the land, right around this time of the other massacre, you're kind of looking at those 1700s. And the last one that I have is called the Guptill's Woods, not anywhere near Guptill's ice cream. So if you do enjoy your ice cream there, not haunted. This is an area actually off of Pollock Road. There's said to be a specific house and those woods that people have witnessed floating orbs, as well as strange eyes with no face looking at you in the dark. The sound of singing can be heard, along with some other ghostly incidents that I'm going to research and back to you on. But I haven't been able to find exact numbers. And that, again, was found on hauntedplaces.org. And also, I also was looking up on ilovenewyork.org website, and there was another one that I have to look up that was kind of the state-run websites, and there's all these different little places that you can go and get these, which I actually have. This one's on Cooperstown, but they do these different magazines of different areas, local things, and they do put one out in October of all of their haunted locations, all of their haunted hay rides, all of that fun stuff. So kind of their spook side. So that's what I have. And I hope you guys are able to get out and enjoy the sunshine and enjoy some time with maybe your digital recorder, your phone, and get out there and keep those ears going.
No, thank you. just a few things before we close. Firstly, any of the organizations that were spoken about during this, we're not affiliated with them. We're not. We weren't asked or anything to promote a product, nor are we promoting the products. These are things that are being looked into for research purposes and seeing if there's any feedback in regards to some of this stuff. Now, some of these things, because I've gone on to haunted sites before, and they list all these places, and then years ago I've called these places, go, hey, any chance I could probably get in there? And they were like, what are you talking
Who
about?
are you?
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, by the way, you're listed on these haunted
Yeah.
sites.
Do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research. And like Katie said, no trespassing. No trespassing.
Be safe. We don't have a
Yeah.
GoFundMe for, bail.
Yeah, we're not.
Be
Don't
good.
call us.
Yeah. There's this thing in the paranormal field that there is a reputation where there are people who just like, you know what, well, we're gonna break into this closed asylum and stuff like that. And there are some people who do that. There's plenty of different fields where there's always those bad eggs that
Mhm.
show up and taint a reputation. So
Don't be those people.
yeah. But again, always do your research. So again, Your Connection used to be a radio show that was done years ago. This is going to be the new format. However, obviously this is the first one, and as we progress through this, it's going to continue to morph. More information, very much more informative. We're going to have videos, audio, all different things displayed during this. Some guests that may appear on here to talk a bit about some things. And continuous updates to provide everybody information. The whole purpose of Your Connection is also to connect people with information. Other paranormal teams to be able to collect data, hear about things, and they may not have heard of. Inspire everybody to consider new experiments, new pieces of equipment, locations to consider. Chances to market events, paranormal events and such. Really bringing people together. Again, that whole para-unity, but with substance.
Mhm.
So if you guys have any thoughts, of course, on things that you may want to see us do, information you may want us to present in the future, or if you want any of your content featured on Your Connection, do not hesitate to reach out to us, post in our Paranormal Puzzle page. We're checking every week. We're asking people, can we post this? Can we put this in Your Connection? Your own evidence too. If there's evidence that you would like us to discuss and bring on to Your Connection, again, don't hesitate. This is something for everyone.
Mhm.
So, other than that, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.